this is the key to manifestation. Your human voice, your voice. We're going to talk about it on the live. All right, let's get started. I'm Junior from Here For You Life Coaching, and we'd like to say good morning and aloha from Hawaii to all of our affiliates this morning. We're on 6 platforms. Whoa, yes. Good morning. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning, all you guys. Yeah, good morning, TikTok. Good morning, Facebook. So, what is this all about? What is my book all about? This is on Amazon. This will help you, okay? And we made it affordable, okay? We made it really super affordable. It's like 10 bucks, okay? Most people miss this because they look at the title and they see singing, right? And they go, oh, that's a book about singing. No, it's not a book about singing. It's a book about how your voice transforms you, okay? How you can transform your whole life through your voice. Okay, now here's the key. It's motivational self-development through the human voice. That's my method of teaching, okay? Now, Joe Dispenza has meditation. Tony Robbins has motivation. I do it through the human voice, okay? Think energy, frequency, okay, and vibration, like Tesla was telling us, right? Nikola Tesla said, if you want to think of the universe, okay, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay, what we add to the process is velocity or strength or wind speed. And this is what singing is. Okay, so when you produce a sound, a tone, okay, you're producing energy, frequency, and vibration. When you produce it quickly, right, like that, like roll hard like that, guess what happens? Endorphins in your brain start being activated, the hormones, oxytocin and endorphins, right? That's what this book is about, but it's cleverly disguised. It's cleverly disguised because people don't know until they go and look at it. You know, so most people are familiar with my name, okay? So they're familiar with my name, so they go, oh, let's see what Junior's book is about. And when they open the first page over here, right? It says motivational self-development through the human voice. And they go, oh, wow, it's about that. It's about self-development. Yeah, it is. So both of my companies deal in self-development. Now, I had to call my singing school a singing school because otherwise nobody would show up. If I said motivational, self-development through the human voice, people go, what is that? What is that? What? Right? So I had to call it a singing school. But if you go and look, if you search us online, okay, Voicemaster Vocal Development, you'll see that we only have 5-star ratings. If you go to, not at all. Go check it out. Check out both of our companies. They only get 5-star ratings. Why is that? It's because of this method right here. Okay, read the reviews to the book. Just check it out. This sells like crazy. It's been selling like crazy since 2017 on Amazon. Okay, it's not crazy enough to make, the bestsellers list or anything like that. Not that crazy, but it sells. When people go and look in the book and they go, oh, it's about what the human voice does for confidence. It's about what the human voice does to heal. It's about what the human voice does to manifest your world. Okay, now let's talk about it. Is it magic? No, it's not magic. But God, okay, spoke the world into existence in the Bible. Okay, now I'm not telling you what to believe or how to believe. Okay, but in the Holy Bible, God speaks the world into existence. Can you speak things into existence? Yeah, that's the good news. You can speak it, okay? Now, how do you do that? Well, first of all, ask, believe, receive is the formula. That's the formula, okay? So now let's talk about it. All right, how do you speak something into existence? Well, first of all, you have something called a subconscious. We talk about that every day. And if you follow me, you know there is only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Okay, now, if you say things, you pronounce it into your subconscious. When you say things, if you say it over and over, let's say well, I'm not good at math. That was my favorite, right? I'm not good at math. I suck at math. I'm bad at math. I'm not good at math. Pretty soon, guess what happens? Your subconscious believes you. And then guess what happens? You're not good at math. Okay, so you have spoken something into existence. Now, when you speak negativity, okay, negative things, okay, it affects your subconscious whether you are aware of it or not. if you are trying to manifest your ideal life, the first thing to do is control your speech. Okay? Control your speech, watch what you say. And the reason you have to watch what you say is because your subconscious is listening. Okay? Your subconscious listens. Now, before, when I went on my self-development journey, right, and I was learning, I saw manifestation, and I go, wow, this is cool. Do I have to learn witchcraft or, stuff like that? No, you don't. It's subconscious. So all you need to do is start with one of these. You just start with one of these. So what I did was like, okay, so I thought manifestation was some exotic, mystical kind of thing, like I had to rub the lamp or something, and the genie would pop out, and that kind of thing. Your subconscious is the genie, okay? And you don't just have 3 wishes. You have unlimited wishes. There are unlimited possibilities, okay? When I started my first company, I was looking at it like a company, right? I was looking at it like I had to know how to do this. There was a how to. I had to figure it out. Right? Wrong. I didn't have to figure it out. Why? Because, it figured itself out. And how did that go? Well, it went something like this. I decided, I had to make a decision. So it all starts with a decision. So when I started my singing school, right, Voicemaster Vocal Development, right, because I thought, how are we going to work this thing, right? So the voice and confidence and everything, how are we going to do this? I didn't know how. So what I did was, and I'm not flexing, I'm here to show you so you can do it too, right? The how is always God's job. Always God's job. So I didn't know what I was doing. And I said, I had two partners. And I said, I don't know how this thing is done, but we're just going to do it. And I had to commit. So the first thing you do is decide. The second thing you do is commit. Okay, so I committed, right? And I said, okay, we're gonna take out an ad in the phone book, and we're gonna put it in there, right? We were the first singing school in Hawaii, the first formal singing school in Hawaii in 1989. Okay, now what happened the second year? Well, the second year there was like 12 other people in there with singing schools, like singing teachers, voice teachers. Here's what happened, right? It was the people selling the ads that went to other music people, right? And said, oh, you guys should be teaching voice because there's Voicemaster over here, and Voicemaster's teaching. You guys should do it too. Okay, so that helps, their revenue because then they sell more ads, right? Okay, so then they started. So the second year, after we put in our ad, the second year, there were 12 people. There were 12 voice teachers, automatic, just out of nowhere. They popped out of nowhere, right? Okay, now back in the day in 1989, this was before I learned The Secret. This was before I studied the law of attraction. This was before my studies. My studies happened in 2007. But back in 89, I thought, wow, I kind of resented it, right? I was like, these guys aren't teachers, because I was a teacher. And these guys aren't teachers. What are they talking about? There was this guitar teacher teaching voice. There was this other guy who was just a music teacher teaching voice, right? And I was like, I'm a voice teacher teaching. I did my classical training. I had training, right? And so I started resenting, okay? That was wrong, okay? So I started resenting because I was like, hey, I took my training, I did my training, and now I'm a voice teacher, and then I advertised 1 year, but I didn't know it was the salespeople doing that. Okay, so the following year, there were 12 places that you could go, okay? But I didn't know how that worked at the time in 1989, okay? And I started resenting, okay? Now remember, resentment is a negative vibration, okay? So anyway, we go along our merry way and we start, teaching. Now, from that ad, we have a flood of people coming in, regular people coming in. The school is making money. We decide to do this full time. In the beginning, I was, doing it part-time on the weekends. So I had been teaching on the weekends for years. And then this happened, right? And then, the progression goes on, and then we get a commercial space. We were at the commercial space for 24 years. And then that office space ran our family of service companies. So eventually we built another company. Now, we did not know how. The how is God's job. All we did was we knew what, okay? We were going to teach voice. We knew why, okay? Why? Because people need to be confident, right? So we knew our what and we knew our why. That's all we knew. That's all I knew. Okay, now fast forward to 2007. I had been teaching since 1989. In 2007, I go down the rabbit hole. And the rabbit hole happened because God told me, right? I was sitting in, and whatever you want to call God, you want to call it intuitive thought, you want to call it the superconscious, okay? So that's what we're talking about. So anyway, I'm sitting in my chair and I'm seeing these little 7-year-olds and they're starting to puff out their chest like that and they're singing so confident. And I'm wondering, like, why is this happening? Like, what's going on? What is making these children so confident? Okay. And now I did not know that, I was doing a few things of my own because it was kind of like my touch. I was doing a few things of my own that were setting off hormones in their brains. I didn't know that at the time. So when I went down the rabbit hole in 2007, I had to do my education. I went through like everything. So I went through quantum physics. I went through, like, you name it, I went through it, right? Subconscious training, okay? Like all kinds of stuff. And so NLP, that's another one, okay? Like all this stuff. So I started studying, doing all my homework, right? And then I found the key. What's the key? Well, the key is Nikola Tesla told us, right? Energy, frequency, and vibration are the keys to understanding the universe. So the only thing that I was adding, and I didn't even know it, was velocity, okay? Now, velocity helps trigger the hormones in your brain. Oxytocin, endorphins, it increases GABA levels, it decreases cortisol. Okay, so now the fear goes away. And when fear and anxiety, guilt, grief, shame, all those negative vibrations go away, guess what happens? Confidence. Why? Because confidence is clarity. Okay, confidence is when you're clear up here. Okay, so when you clear out this one, right? Like I say, the prison is here. When you clear this out, guess what happens? You become confident. Why? Because confident is a chill, laid back kind of feeling. Okay, so I have cameras all over. If you'll see me look over here and then look down here and look over here. So, but confidence is a chilled, laid back kind of feeling. Okay, so that happened. Then I started placing emphasis on the velocity. And guess what? In the beginning, right, in the very beginning of my teachings in 1989, it took 2 months to get people like some solid improvement, right? Now, when I did my training in 2007, I was getting positive results in people and they experienced a change in the very first session. In the very first session. So now this led to the confidence, right? So I go, well, if this works for singers, I want to get the good news to everybody that they can do this, right? And this is why we do our live in the morning. Okay, this is part of it. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to do this and let everybody know like how this works and that they can manifest just about anything this way through their voice, like God spoke the universe into existence, okay? It's the same thing, okay? Now, how can I do this, right? So I wrote the book. I wrote the book on it, The Universal Law of Attraction and Singing. And it started selling like crazy and people wrote reviews and go read the reviews. It's on Amazon. And so I started, I wrote the book, right? And people were like, wow, Junior, you're an author now. And I'm like, well, not exactly. I just wanted to write the book, okay? I'm working on 2 other books that are incomplete right now. But I wrote this book and I wrote 2 other books. And the 2 other books that I wrote, I give to my clients for free. Okay, those are just books on the voice and how it relates to music. But this is not about music. This is about how people change their lives through their voices, okay, through singing, okay? So that's why you see singing. But it's actually motivational self-development through the human voice. And if you look, like right in here, it says that right here. Motivational self-development. I know it's backwards, right? And so, yeah, motivational self-development through the human voice. Okay, and the people that have studied this, okay, are all listed on Google. Go search Voicemaster Vocal Development. Okay, all 5 stars. It's crazy. Okay, go search my life coaching company. Here for You Life Coaching. That's what we're doing right now. Okay, so go check that out. All 5-star ratings. Okay, the highest in Hawaii. Okay, now how is that possible? How is that possible? I've never gotten anything less than a 5. It's because I work with human beings. And once you understand this process, once you understand that people can manifest a better life in general just by doing this with their voice, then you understand why we get only 5-star ratings. So what happened? Well, there was these singers, right, for years and years and years. And then after my studies, right, in 2010, I go, wow, this needs to be like shared for everybody. So we started Here For You life coaching because we use the same technique. It's through the human voice. But we started Here For You life coaching because singing scares the crap out of some people, okay? It scares you. People are like, oh, no, I don't want to sing. I don't want to sing. So, that's the last thing they think about. Well, here's a secret. Every human being can sing. I've had people come to me and, like, okay, well, I really suck at singing. Can you make me sing? I'm like, of course. What is singing? Let's take a look at what singing is, okay? You get this for free, okay? My clients have to come and pay me money for this. You guys get this for free. All right, pattern recognition, okay? It's melody. It's basically pattern recognition. Okay, I don't teach anything with music, involving music. The only thing that I do with music is what other people do with it. Okay, I develop voices. I physically develop voices. I give them exercises to develop their voice. When a person develops their voice, guess what? They become confident. Why? Because they find their voice. That's a metaphor, okay? But they literally find themselves. So we say, find your voice, find yourself. Yourself in here. This energy that's in here. That's what comes out to sing. Your physical body doesn't sing. Your physical body assists your spirit in singing. Ooh, big one right there, right? You didn't think of it that way, did you? You're a spirit in here. You're not your body. You're not your name. You're that spirit that lives in here. Okay, when that spirit comes out to sing, okay, that's what touches people. Now, what if you're just an ordinary person and you just want to make your life better and you're not interested in singing? Okay, then do the exercises with me and you'll manifest everything in your life. Like everything. Everything. Okay? Now, we always go over manifestation processes, but I have to tell you that vocalization is the most important. It works the fastest. The fastest way to calm a human being down is not medication. Okay? Well, now I'm not making medical claims, and I'm not knocking the medical industrial complex. Okay, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that if you want to calm really quickly and get rid of all the anxiety, get rid of all the fear, all you have to do is do the exercises that I give. Okay, and I give these exercises. Okay, sometimes with people that can't afford the exercises, I give them to them. I give it to them. I tell them what to do. And guess what? They text me in about a month and they go, wow, this really works. Like, I feel really good, And when you feel good, what happens? Everything comes. Money comes, relationships come, everything, friends come, everything comes. When you're upset, what happens? Everything goes. So you can tune a human being just like you tune an instrument through their voice, energy, frequency, vibration, and velocity. Okay, so my marketing director tells me, oh, you gotta stream, you gotta tell people this. Okay, well, manifestation has to do with your subconscious. Okay, it's subconscious. What does a human voice have to do? It's one component, it's one pillar. It's affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. So I was a voice teacher all the way until 2007. And then I did 2 years of study, 2 years of intense study. You know how intense I am, right? Yeah, so intense study. I was like, yeah. Oh man, I can't even tell you how many. So it takes 10,000 hours to accomplish something, right? Like get a business going and stuff. It takes 10,000 hours. Okay, I must have done about 15 to 20,000 hours of study in 2 years' time. Okay, and in 2010 I started Here For You life coaching. Okay, I didn't know how it was going to work. We only have 5-star ratings, but I didn't know how it was going to work. Search us in ChatGPT, search us online, search us. Here For You life coaching, Honolulu, Hawaii. Okay, and read the results for yourself. Okay, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to tell you what I did so that you can do it. Okay, so that you can create your company, so that you can create your business, so that you know that you don't have to know how. Because you're a human being. God does the how. You just have to know what you want to do, and you just have to know why. Why do I want to do this? Okay, the reason I did Here For You Life Coaching is because I wanted to solve people's problems. Because the majority of my clients were always women, and they were coming to me because they wanted confidence. And I noticed that they all had emotional problems. They were all like, wow, I'm always in my head. I'm always in my head. I don't know what to do. My husband tells me I'm crazy. I'm like, no, you're not crazy. You know? But they don't understand. They don't understand the psychological side of things. Okay, they don't understand the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, the states of awareness. They don't understand. Their husbands didn't understand that. Okay, one lady came to me, and I said, okay, I'll work with you. The story is right here in my book. It's right here in my book. So these are stories of real life people that I taught, okay, that changed their lives through their voice. One lady came to me and 9 months later, she walks into my office after this confidence training. She goes, guess what? I'm like, what? She goes, I got a divorce. I'm like, whoa, she changed her life. So what was wrong in that situation? Well, she was being held hostage here. The prison is here. I had a grandmother come to me, right? Her story's in here. I had this grandmother come to me, right? She came to me and she goes, oh, I really want to try. Can I try? And I said, sure. And I made her confident, okay? She was with me for about 7 months. And what happened? Well, one day she comes in, she goes, you'll never guess what happened. She was 65 years old. She goes, you'll never guess what happened. And I was like, oh boy, I love these stories. Like, okay, what happened? She goes, I moved out of my daughter's house, right? I'm having wine and partying with my girlfriends because we're all retiring. We're all, kind of retirement age. And she was a widow, right? And she goes, we're all retirement age and we're drinking wine, we're having fun, we're, all of these things, right? And I'm finally on my own and I have my own place now. I can do what I want. And I go, oh, well, congratulations. That's awesome. And then she goes, and this was the clincher. She goes, and I left everything to my grandson when he's 50 so my daughter doesn't get any of it. And I'm like, whoa, dun, 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 dun. Right? I was like, wow. So you see what happens when people get confident? Because people get held hostage here. Who was holding her hostage? Her daughter? No, she was holding herself hostage, right? When she got confident, she took the steps. She took the steps to free herself. Okay, I'm the jailbreaker. That's all I do. That's my role. Okay, I take the key. Okay, I go in and I unlock the lock. Okay, and that's called confidence. Okay, I unlock the lock, right? And then beautiful things happen. So I always say that human beings are like presents. Human beings are like presents. You never know what's inside until you unwrap them. Okay? And when she, got confident, right? She had the guts to take the steps. She took the steps and now she's happy. See? We're all prisoners to something in our lives. We're all prisoners to something. And we need to set ourselves free. Okay, but you need to know that you don't need to know how. You don't need to know how. The how is God's job. Okay? The how is God's job. All you have to know is what and why. Okay? Now let me tell you how manifestation works. All right. So manifestation works through the subconscious. There is only the conscious, subconscious, superconscious. Okay? Now, there's affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Now, vocalization is only one pillar, okay? But this is the pillar that I work on the most because, first of all, you have to get someone calm inside. You have to get rid of the anxiety, guilt, grief, and shame. Those things. If you get rid of those things in a human being, guess what? They clear. And guess what happens when they clear? They become happy. Guess what happens when they become happy? They start attracting everything good into their lives. Okay? So first of all, we work with the voice. That gets them down, okay, in here. Okay, gets the anxiety down, gets the fear down, all of that stuff down. Okay, now when that happens, what else do we do? Well, we have them do affirmations. I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident, maybe. Okay, or whatever. You can insert whatever. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have $500 extra this month. Thank you. Now, how does this work? Is this magic? Is this voodoo? Is this witchcraft? No, not at all. This is your subconscious. Okay, because when you write it, when you speak it, your subconscious begins to believe it and it starts to show you evidence of it. And this is why you can speak things into existence. Okay? So when you read, holy books and they say, God spoke the world into existence, that's what they're talking about. Okay? They're giving you the clue. Okay? Esoteric knowledge, right? The hidden knowledge tells you, okay, that you could speak things into existence. Why? Because God did. And where's God? God is in here. Jesus Christ told us the kingdom is within. Right? Gautama Buddha told us the kingdom is within. Krishna told us the kingdom is within. It goes on and on and on. Shanakya told us, Shanakya was an Indian philosopher, right? And Shanakya said, your feelings are your God. Now, why would your feelings be your God? Well, if you feel good, you attract everything. If you feel bad, you repel everything. Okay? Resistance. Okay? That's why. Now, a lot of people don't put this together. A lot of people, they know that when they're in a bad mood, everything goes wrong. They know when they're happy, everything goes right. Okay? But their level of awareness is not high enough that they can put all of this together and figure it out and go, oh, okay, all I need to do is be happy. Why? Well, there's education. Education teaches you a different way. Educated people, okay, those are the majority of my clients. They're all educated. They all have degrees. They all have college behind them. They all have, they have. But when I give them this piece of the puzzle, they go, oh, they have everything else, right? And they put this together with it and they go, oh, wow, I didn't know it was like this. Yeah. But what do they do? What do they do in the corporate world? They teach you about what? Self-love, right? Those are all the buzzwords. Self-love, self-care, right? I'm going to do a little self, right? Going to do a little self, okay? They teach it to you that way, but they don't teach you why. They don't tell you why. All right, so I'm here to tell you why. Now, with the voice, what else does it do besides activate the hormones? Oxytocin, endorphins, okay? It increases GABA levels. It decreases the fight or flight syndrome hormone, okay? Cortisol, right? It lowers cortisol levels. How does it do that? It's called the vagus nerve. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that before. Look it up, the vagus nerve. It's the largest or longest of the cranial nerves. You have 12 cranial nerves. The 12 disciples. The 12 disciples. Esoterically. Okay, we don't want to offend any religious people, all right? But esoterically, right, they are the 12 disciples. Now, the vagus nerve runs all the way down from the cranium all the way down into your lungs. And when you project your voice, it affects the vagus nerve. Okay, it connects the brain to the heart all the way down, okay, all the way down through the lungs to your heart. Now, what does that do? Well, when you open your throat chakra, right, okay, you remove the blockage from here, and then you can express yourself, then you can find your voice. Then what happens? Well, because the vagus nerve runs all the way to your heart chakra opens. Well, what happens when that happens? You burst into tears, happy tears. Okay, happy tears, not bad tears, not sad tears, happy tears. Okay, and you start crying. Why? Well, because the veil begins to lift. What veil? Okay, let's say this another way, okay? Because I don't want to offend anybody, and especially religious people, okay? Because they Yeah, they always tell me, oh no, it's not like that. That's satanic. I'm like, no, it's subconscious. So anyway, all right. So here we go. All right. So the heart chakra, the throat chakra. Okay, they are all mentioned in the Bible, but they're mentioned as the seven seals. Okay, seven seals, seven chakras. All right. Now let's talk about the heart chakra and when it opens and what it does and the veil that lifts. What's the veil? It's the blinding of your eyes because people look but they don't see. Okay, it opens your ears. What? Yeah, people listen but they don't hear. It says that in all holy books. Why is that? Well, because human beings are very impressionable beings. Okay, and human beings get hypnotized really quick. Okay, and society is under a huge hypnosis. Look at people at the stoplight. Next time you stop at a stoplight, look at people. They're like this, like machines, and they're watching the light. They're just like this, watching the light, waiting for the green light, and then the green light happens, and then they just go. That's the hypnosis. Okay. Repetition. The subconscious learns in repetition. Good morning, guys. Good morning. The subconscious learns in repetition. Once you program the subconscious, guess what happens? It just repeats, repeats, repeats. Okay, you get up at the same time, you have a body clock, right? You have a body clock. Get up at the same time, brush your teeth at the same time, eat breakfast at the same time. You're on the mouse wheel. What's the mouse wheel? Well, Monday through Friday, right? Monday through Friday, you go to work, okay? You're on this giant work farm we call Earth. Okay, you go to work, right? And then of course, you work 5 days a week, sometimes 6, sometimes people have 2 jobs. But let's just take 5 days a week. You work 5 days a week, right? Same thing. Every day, 5 days a week. On the weekends, okay, soccer on Saturday, church on Sunday, and then you're back on the mouse wheel. You've been programmed into the system. Okay, so the system itself is the blinders. Okay, what I'm talking about when the veil is lifted, you see right through the system. Everybody saw right through the system in 2020. In 2020, everybody saw the system for what it was. Why? Because they had to stop. And when you stop, you have nothing to do but think. And when you think, and thinking is priceless, hello? Thinking is priceless. When you start to think about it, you go, oh, and you figure it all out. And the veil lifts, right? Because you're staying home now, okay? A lot of veils lifted and a lot of people got divorced. You know why? Because they were too busy, right? They were too busy to look at all the things that were going wrong, or all the things that were wrong, or all the things that were illusionary, right? But when 2020 came, everybody stopped, everybody, right, paid attention. When they paid attention, well, yeah, this ain't that anymore. And they got divorced. Okay, a lot of stuff happened in 2020. A lot of people started seeing the truth. They started seeing politics for what it is. They started seeing the system for what it is. I'm not here to tell you how it is. I'm here to tell you that if you slow down enough, you'll see it for yourself. And the blinders come off. The blinders fall away, and you see everything for what it is. The planet is under a huge transformation right now. And the vibration is going up, not down. Okay? There's always balance, so yeah, things go down first, and then things get better. But the planet is evolving, and what you're witnessing is a system that's slowly fading, and it's fighting. It's fighting to remain, fighting to remain, fighting to remain. But it's a new age. It's a new age. I'm not talking about wokeism. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about the way we are designed as humans. We are designed to evolve. If you're not evolving, something's wrong. Okay? But so many people are on the mouse wheel. Okay? So many people cannot see because they're too grounded in the physical matrix. The physical matrix. Okay, so what does the vagus nerve do? Well, it makes you relax. What is relaxation? Confidence. What's the opposite of confidence? Like when you're so uptight, when you're filled with anxiety, when you're filled with distraction, when you're forcing life to go this way, you're forcing life to go that way. That's not how life works. That's not how manifestation happens. That's not how you get good stuff. How do you get good stuff? You be happy. Do things that make you happy. How can you be happy if you're on the mouse wheel 5 days a week? Okay. And basically you're an economic slave. And then on the weekends you get those 2 days to play with, right? And before you know it, you're back on the mouse wheel again. And some people do that with one job for 65, 70 years or something, whatever, right? And then they retire, they take a few cruises, and then they're gone. That's not a life. Well, to me, everybody has their own version, okay? But you need to figure out what it is for you because you're in this system. You can be in the system and not of the system. In other words, what I'm saying, okay, for those of you who joined us late, is that you can attract everything you want within the system. You can use anything in the system. Look at all the digital things that you can get for free. Look at all the things that you can do. Costas, good morning. Escape the matrix? You don't have to escape the matrix. You don't have to escape the matrix. But yeah, I know what you mean, brother. I know what you mean. You don't have to escape the matrix. You have to be aware that it is a matrix. You just have to be aware. Because when you can see, when the blinders are lifted, okay, when they fall away or when the veil is lifted, and you can see things for what they really are, you can navigate, okay? Because human beings are awesome when they start thinking. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. So today we're talking about the vocalization. Today we're talking about my book, okay? And the reason why this thing sells on Amazon, the reason why my book sells is because it talks about the human being. And these are real stories in here. There was a lady whose husband died in her arms after 2 months of marriage. When she walked into my office, she was literally like this. Okay, and she was taking things for it, but you know, she was seeing a doctor. She came in like this. 9 months later, she walks out confident. You'd never think she had a worry in the world. She went back, she had a company, she had a pretty large company. She went back and started working at her business. She was all good. And she was recommended to me by her son, who came to me for confidence when he was younger. And then he became a councilman. So what I'm saying is your voice can make you confident, but not the way you think. You know, people think, well, if I sing in front of people or if I speak in front of people, I will be confident. No, it's not that. It's the hormones. But you need to use your voice with velocity, strong tones, okay, strong tones. So think Nikola Tesla, energy, frequency, vibration, okay, and then add velocity. Now you're calming the brain. Now you get rid of all the negative emotions slowly. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes 3 to 4 months in the average human being. Okay, but by the 4th month, I have people in top shape. Now, let me make the two distinctions. There are the people that come to me for voice, to sing, to be singers, right? And then there's people that come to me for relaxation and to diminish their PTSD. Okay, there's people that come to me for life coaching. So there's two sides. So the people that come to me for singing, I always ask them, like, is it more about singing or is it more about confidence? And 8 out of 10 people say confidence. And when they say confidence, I go, okay, you need the life coaching. So I put them in here for you, life coaching. Okay, when people come in, they go, oh, I just want to sing. I'm like, okay. Then I don't give them the 4 pillars. I just give them one, the vocalization. Okay, but it's affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Now let me go through each one and I'll just be brief on each one. Affirmations, okay? Like this. I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Thank you. All right? Write it every morning. Okay? Speak it out loud every night when you go to bed. How long will this take, Uncle? This will take 63 days minimum. 63 days minimum. 5-dimension. Matrix is 3-dimension. Yep. Matrix is 3-dimension. Plus time, Costas. You got to add time into that. All right, so Costas is very familiar. So now, I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Thank you. Okay, that will start to diminish your anxiety over time. 63 days. Now, how many people are going to write it for 63 days? Very few. Very few. How many people are confident? Very few. Okay, because we're talking about inner confidence with the voice. Okay, we're not talking about the bodybuilder guy, the alpha guy that, is very boisterous. That's not confidence. That's not confidence at all. Confidence is that really chill person, and they don't care what happens. That's confidence. That's confidence. All right, so now, what else? That's the affirmations. Meditation, what do? Sit still for 10 minutes. Sit still for 10 minutes. Can you sit still for 10 minutes? That's a big challenge. Time is an illusion, that's right. But you have to factor that in, Costas, because we run by time. It's an illusion, but we run by time. So you have to factor time in because there's a calendar. They do it to us. It's not a God-made thing. There is only one now. That's all there is. Anyway, all right, Costas is making comments on that channel, so I have to answer. Anyway, but yeah, so what is the meditation? Can you sit still for 10 minutes? Okay, try 5 minutes first. So what I do is I take my timer. So let me show you guys. Okay, so you guys know. All right, so I take my timer. Hang on, I'm accessing my timer. So I just put in here timer, okay? Then I go to, oops. All right, let's try that again. There, timer. And I go to my timer. It's already preset for 10 minutes. Okay, can you guys see that there? 10 minutes, okay? 10 minutes, 10 minutes, okay, 10 minutes. Okay, we have many networks simulcasting right now. All right, so all I do is go in and I press start and I take this thing and I put it face down and I sit still and I wait until it goes off. What happens when you wait? Are you supposed to do a mantra? Are you supposed to do all that kind of stuff, exotic stuff? No, not really. You don't have to, okay? You have to observe your thoughts. And if you sit still, okay, so the optimum is like 30 minutes. That's like max, but you don't need 30 minutes. You could do 10 minutes a day, that's fine. But you will be able to observe your thoughts without engaging. You will be able to observe your emotions without engaging, okay? It takes you from here, like this, being like this, okay, to relaxing like this, relaxing, slowly opening, and boom, like that. Or we can say like this, and then you open, and this is increasing relaxation, and then you become the lotus flower like that, okay? You become open. When you express through your voice, what happens? You become open. People that have trouble expressing have a closed throat chakra. And we discussed the vagus nerve that goes to your heart. And that's the heart chakra. So once the throat chakra is done and you're expressing with your voice, it opens your heart chakra. And your heart opens. What happens when the heart opens? What happens when the heart chakra opens? You see things for what they are. You see the truth. You feel the truth. Okay? And this is all intuitive. This is from the superconscious. This is what psychics do. This is what mediums do. It's not magic. It's the superconscious. There is only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. That's it. But you're a human being. You're designed like this. Okay? You are designed like this. You are an amazing being. If you really want to see a miracle, just go look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and you will see a miracle. So when your heart chakra opens, guess what? Your heart opens. Are you vulnerable? Well, at the moment that it opens, yes, you are vulnerable. But the good news is that you will see the truth, and the truth will set you free. The truth always sets you free. Jesus Christ said that. The truth shall set you free. Now, what's the opposite of that? The opposite of that is the physical matrix that keeps you bound. Okay? And what Jesus was trying to tell you was that the kingdom is in here. Everything is accessible in here. It doesn't matter what the system does. It only matters what you do in here. That's it. And how do you raise your awareness from in here? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. The highest emotion is love. The lowest emotion is not hate. Okay, people think that hate is the opposite of love. No. Fear is the opposite of love. Fear. If you can keep someone fearing, you can keep them off their life path. Their life path is going like this, and you make them scared and they go like that. And you make them scared and they go like that. If you keep making them afraid, if you keep them in fear, they're no longer going on their life path. They're going over here now. They're not going here. That was a visual, but that's what happens. Your life path unfolds from the inside of you, like a projector going outward. It doesn't happen from here, this way. If things are happening to you this way, then you're a victim. So the question is, how are you looking at these? How are you looking at these things? Are you a victim? Everything happens to you. Oh, this happened to me. Oh, she did this to me. He did this to me. That they did this. Did like that? Or is your life unfolding for you? For you. For you. You desired that job. You took action to go down and apply, and now you have the job, and now money's coming. And now you got promoted. Pretty soon you get promoted. Pretty soon all these good things are happening. Ask, believe, receive. Most people know how to ask. Most people pray to God all the time. God, source, universe, whatever label you want to put on that. I'm not telling you what to believe. But most people ask God all the time. What are you really doing when you're praying, when you're asking God? You're asking God to conform on your behalf. Really? I've been in churches where they tell me what God's word is. Oh, this is God's word. God wants you to do this. Really? Oh, yeah, because it's written, like this is what it means. And then they'll give me their opinion. And then I'll go to another church and they give me another opinion. I go to another church and I go, wait a minute, this is all the same denomination church, like 3 churches, different opinion. I used to belong to this one church and I went to different locations of the same church, and in the 3 different places, they give me 3 different variations of what it meant. Okay? I'm not knocking churches. I'm just saying, if you're speaking on the behalf of the divine, you'd better think about that. If you're speaking in someone's name, if you're speaking on behalf of the divine, or God, or Jesus Christ, or Allah, make sure you understand what you're doing. Because you have no right to judge. You have no right to judge. Who are you to judge? Okay, God does not judge you. Sorry. God does not punish you. We punish ourselves. Okay? Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. Okay? The superconscious just confirms what the subconscious is believing. Okay? So it doesn't matter. So the question is, how are you feeling? How are you thinking? Fear is an illusion. Fear is an illusion of sorts, Costas. It is. Fear follows thought. You think a thought, then you experience fear. Change your thoughts, fear goes away. It's as simple as that. So when you do the meditation, right? We were talking about the meditation. When you do the meditation and you do 5 minutes of meditation, then you get to 10 minutes of meditation. What are you doing? You're observing the thoughts and you're allowing the thoughts and you're observing them without engaging with them and you're allowing them to pass. And the emotion that follows the thought, you're allowing it to pass without engaging. You are becoming the observer. If you can observe yourself thinking thoughts, if you can observe yourself feeling emotions, and they just kind of pass, you know, I can tell you what it feels like. It feels like a little tingle when an emotion passes through you. It feels like a little, like, whoo, like that, and it kind of passes and then goes through you when you allow it to pass. Now, if you embrace it, okay, if you join with that emotion, you will start experiencing that emotion and you will start experiencing the ramifications of it or the results of it. And when that goes into your subconscious repetitively, because the subconscious learns in repetition, what happens? The subconscious learns to fear. The subconscious learns anxiety. It learns how to be anxious. It learns how to feel guilty. It learns how to grieve. And then over and over and over, it gives you more evidence of whatever it is that you put into it. You put grief into your subconscious, pretty soon you're grieving about every little thing. Your subconscious will show you more. Oh, look, your classmate passed away last year. Oh, look, so-and-so passed away. Oh, this is... And then you're constantly being fed with grief or things to grieve. And it works the other way as well. Think love, right? Choose love. Think love. What happens? You start feeling lovable. You start feeling love. You start becoming loving, right? And then you experience those things. And then those things come. The byproducts of love begins to show up. Peace, gratitude, joy, passion, excitement. Those things start to show up. Then what happens? Well, that brings you abundance. It brings you more of that. So you can choose the abundance mindset or you can choose the scarcity mindset. How are you looking at things? What are you thinking? Okay, so that's the meditation. We already discussed the vocalization. Now, what about the visualization? Well, first of all, you have to see yourself worthy. That's the first step. You have to see yourself worthy. Desire for love. Yeah, well, to desire, you have to think it, Costas. Everything originates in thought, but yep, desire. That's a good thing. So, you have to visualize the final outcome. What's the final outcome? What do you want it to look like? That's the big question. Well, I want a house. What kind of house do you want? A house can just be made of plywood and that's it, right? What kind of house do you want? Well, I want a 5-bedroom house, 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. Okay, write it down. Write it down. I got the dream home. I got the dream home a few years ago. 5-story dream home, right? I wanted a mansion. I got a 5-story mansion. It was huge. I put it up once in a while on my Facebook account. Once in a while. But guess what? There's a sacrifice for everything. Okay? That big house was a lot of work. We had to hire a guy to take care of the yard. We had to hire guys to come in and spray. We had to get all these things involved, right? You know, and God said, well, you wanted the mansion, here you go, right? It was beautiful. It was on the hillside, Nuuanu, this place on in Hawaii that I'm from. But yeah, creates a feeling of love. Yep, your thoughts create feelings of love. If you think the right thoughts, that's right, Costas. And when I was in that dream home, I would stand out on the patio and I would look into downtown in Kaka'ako, where I live now. I live in a tower now. And I would look down there and I would go, that's the dream. And that's what I said. I said, that's the dream. And I got my phone and I zoomed in on this one building and I said, that's the dream. I declared it into my subconscious, and guess what? I live in that tower now in Kaka'ako. It's just a place in Hawaii. It's a high-rise district. It's very expensive to live here, but that was the dream. So you can go from dream to dream to dream is what I'm saying. You don't have to, okay, I got this thing and then, I got the dream home. Let the dream home go and get the next dream thing. For me, it was like, okay, I want to try this, I want to try that, I want to try this, I want to try that, I want to try all of this. I want to experience all of this stuff. By the time I die, I've had a life. Okay, some people live on the mouse wheel, right? 9 to 5, 5 days a week, Saturday soccer, Sunday church, back on the mouse wheel until they retire. Then they take a few cruises and then they're too weak to go on and they die. Try everything in life because you can bring anything you want to you, regardless of the matrix, regardless of the physical world. It doesn't matter your circumstances. Love without limits of the matrix. Yeah, the matrix does not limit love in the first place. It does not. Nope, not at all. So you can be in the system and not of the system, basically. Christians say you can be in the world, but not of the world. Okay? So anyway, we went over affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. So visualize what it's like for your goal. Visualize that and visualize that you're worth it. See yourself worthy. The number one thing for the subconscious is visualization. That's the number one imprint. The second is your voice. Okay? It's all in here. It's all in here. Okay? You don't have to buy the book. If you're watching this right now and you message me right now and say, send me the book, I'll give it to you for free. I'll give you a PDF copy. Okay? I sell a lot of books, don't worry. But it's online. You can read the reviews. The Universal Law of Attraction and Singing. My name is Junior Kekuewa Jr. You can plug this into any browser and see who I am. Okay, so my whole life is online. I think anyway, the last 30 years of it anyway. But yeah, okay. So thank you, Costas. Thank you so much. You want the book? Sure. Costas, all you have to do is just message me, okay? Message me on TikTok and I will send you the book. Okay, send me your email. I'll email it to you, PDF copy. Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much for moderating. All right, time to see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7 a.m. It's 8 a.m. right now in Hawaii, and we say goodbye to our